Hey everyone, and welcome to the NintendoFuse Podcast. This is episode 291, recorded on Star Wars Day, May 4th, 2024, for May 7th, 2024. My name is Steve, and of course, I'm joined by Barry. Barry, how's it going?
Hey, Steve. It's going great. And don't forget, it's also Free Comic Book Day.
It is Free Comic Book Day. I got a good Pokemon comic book from
Oh,
my
nice.
local comic book shop just a bit ago, and so that was exciting. Greg, were you able to get up to Free Comic Book Day as well?
No, I was not. I had my daughter's soccer game early this morning, and then just been kind of lounging around, getting all set for the podcast and everything.
Well, it's going on all day, so if you are listening to this anytime after the day we record, sorry, you probably missed out. But there are some digital comics that you can get. In fact, I think Comixology, which is now owned by Amazon, goes back for years. You can get the free digital comics for years and years ago, but unfortunately, they once Amazon's taken over, they've not really publicized it well, and it's so difficult to find those comics anymore. But yeah, hopefully you got a chance to celebrate Star Wars Day and celebrate Free Comics Day as well. On this episode, we're not going to be talking about Star Wars or Free Comic Book Day, but we are going to talk about some recent events that have been happening and showcases in the video game world, specifically focusing on Nintendo again, and several headlines that we've got to talk to you guys today about as well. If you are new to the podcast, we'd encourage you to subscribe on your favorite podcast app or here on YouTube where we're watching the video version. We normally stream live every other Tuesday at 5 p.m. Pacific time and 8 p.m. No, sorry, 7. I'm getting all these times confused.
5 Pacific, 8
We've not
Eastern.
recorded live in a couple weeks and forgetting all the dates and times. So yes, 8 p.m. Eastern time, 5 p.m. Pacific time. Next podcast, we will be back to live again. But we are pre-recording this one mostly because of my travel schedule. I'm kind of all over the place right now. And so normally you can jump in the live chat and join in the conversation with us. If you've never followed us over on social media, just a reminder that we are at NintendoFuse, and we'd love for you to follow us over there and also join our Discord. The links for both of those are in the show notes and the YouTube description, but also on the screen if you are watching the video version. But let's jump in, as always, to talk about what we have been playing. And Greg, we're going to you first.
All right, so top off the list is my Switch games. I've been playing some of our upcoming game chat games like Kudzu, Alamasoft, and Stacklands. I did pick up a little handheld emulation device that I had posted in our Discord. Big shout out there if you missed it. But it has a bunch of retro games on it. I've been playing Dragon Warrior 1 and 3 on there. Like, I did beat 1, so I've already moved on to 3. Then I also had played Bomberman 2, which I had never played before. That was like the first time I've ever played that one. I knew of its existence, but I never had owned my own version of that game, unfortunately, even though I really liked the Bomberman series as a whole, especially on the more retro Nintendo consoles, as opposed to like the Super Bomberman R and such for today's releases. But yeah, I thought that was a pretty good game overall. I felt like the time limit was kind of unfair at times, especially on the last few levels of Bomberman 2. I think that's why made it even more challenging than it really needed to be, because you were trying to beat all the enemies and find the gate all within like a very short amount of time, especially in the last world, like world 6 or 7. Like, the time limit was only like 100 seconds, where like the first few worlds you get like 300 seconds. So it's like big difference, and you can it's still kind of side scrolls too, so like it's not like it's a one screen and then that's all you're done with as well too. But yeah, overall it was a pretty good game and really enjoyed it to see some more of Bomberman's history and roots on like the NES console. But yeah, then still on mobile, still playing Roblox, the Adopt Me game. I've been building a city with my daughter, and it's been a lot of fun as I continue to expand that. Have added some new hotel building that I was designing, along with a castle that I'm making for myself, which is a nice, fun house for my dragons and stuff that I like to collect. And then yeah, Another game that I kind of more discovered or rediscovered more recently was this Sour Patch game where you just have to go around and it's like a hide and seek game. You just go around and like have to collect them all, and like they have different themed ones. There's like a One Piece Sour Patch Kid that kind of looks like the main character from there. There's like a Minecraft Steve one and some other different ones that they just kind of like hide in random like areas that they've designed. Like there's like a forest area and a desert area and some other like biome type areas that you can just go around looking for random Sour Patch Kids that they just placed around the map. So that's, I think there's 91 at the time of this recording, and they continually update to add new ones every like couple of days or every few weeks or so.
Nice. Are any of these Sour Patch or Minecraft or anything trademarked? Like, they actually officially licensed, or people just ripping them off?
I think I mean, he's been doing collabs, so I think he actually like reaches out to get like the permission to use those. I mean, he does have a Sonic one, and I don't know if that one's officially licensed because I don't know if like Sega would be down for that. But I think like smaller companies like um, Minecraft and stuff, like I know they're owned by Microsoft, but I think there might be a little bit more lenient to let them have like a sample like image of the Steve's face or something. I don't know. I'd at least like to hope so, but I guess you never really know in this day and age.
It's true. Yep.
Yeah, and to end off, still playing Simpsons Tapped Out. It's still pretty fun there, and yeah, there was an XP generator thing that they had added a while back, and I've just been having that running all the time, just so I get even more free donuts every day. So makes it
Nice.
easier to buy the premium content when you get the premium currency for free.
Nice. If only you got real free donuts every day.
Oh man, free donuts.
Yep.
Barry, I forgot to ask, did you get any free comics today as well?
After we finish recording this, we're gonna go to our local store. They're open till 5,
Nice.
and we're gonna go get some free comics at the comic book shop in town.
That's cool.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
have to go pick up our subscriptions anyways because they do subscriptions. So
Cool.
every month we go there to grab them. So yeah, we might as well do it on free comic book day.
That's cool. Yeah, ours it was actually a bigger deal. Like, I pulled up and they had tents outside and everything. They were partnering with a bookstore that was around the corner too. And normally they allow us to only have like 4 or 5 comics, but they allow us to have 10 this year. So it's like I
Wow,
picked up
yeah.
several that I normally wouldn't have picked up just because they got them for free. So I'm gonna check out some new comics that I've not read yet. So
Yeah, ours usually puts like 4 or 5 in a bag, and like there's like 2 or 3 different bags, and they'll just hand you, or you could pick which bag you want, and
oh
they
wow,
know
we
what
get
you
to go
like.
through and pick.
Oh no,
Interesting.
no, they do it this way so they're not stuck with like one particular one that's just not as popular,
Hmm.
and they go through. But they made it this time like the first person in line got all 47 comics, and it was
Wow.
like that's crazy.
I have to see where the nearest comic book store is even around by me though, because I don't even can't even think of one that's like within over like a 5 or 10 mile radius even.
Well,
I'm sure there's got to be somewhere.
if you do get there, Pokemon Adventures Ruby and Sapphire is the Pokemon one they're giving out for free this year.
Nice, I'll have to ask specifically
Nice.
for it.
Yeah. So Barry, what else you've been playing other than planning out your comic book purchases, or not purchases because you're free?
So yeah, on the Switch, I'm still doing Pokemon Unite. I did a little Pokemon Scarlet they had like a gold event, which I'm trying to get like a shiny Pokemon, and I did not. And they also lied, saying that 2 Pokemon were there in 7-star raids. I was like, ooh, but they were 5-star raids, and I already got them from 5 stars. So I was like, you Nintendo marketing for lying. Also been playing some Yuden Chronicle 100 Heroes. I got my backer, because I kickstarted it. I got the digital version because the physical version was delayed, and it's okay. I'm enjoying it, but I'm not totally hooked. And I think part of the problem is the Switch version, because the Switch version of the game is the worst. The load times are insanely long. So if you get into a battle, there's a long loading battle, long loading to get out of it. Every time you go into a house or a building, there's a loading. Then you leave the building, there's more like it just starts to add up in grade, and the more I'm staring at a loading screen, the more I'm taken out of the story, and I stop caring and I stop wanting to explore because it's just going to take too long. The frame rate also has weird dips. Um, which is the Switch version has, and it needs to be fixed because that started giving me a headache then, as I noticed. And then I don't know if it's just specific to the Switch version, but they use this like weird filter that it's like an HD 2D like Octopath style game, but the stuff in the background is very, very fuzzy. And as you get closer, it gets clear, but it's not a smooth transition. And like there are some towns that are very deep, and when you go in there, all you see is like mostly blur, and it's like it's making my eyes hurt. And I'm like closing my eyes trying to run around this town. So I don't know if that's a Switch version or if that's just a stylistic choice. But I'm a decent way into the game. I don't know if I'll finish it, but it's not a bad game. It just those things definitely hurt my enjoyment, so it's kind of taken me a little out. I am also playing. I already played a game called Dogfight: A Sausage Bomber Story. It's a shmup, 2D shmup, multiplayer too. It's fun. It's like 9 levels. You got unlockable weapons. A lot of humor, replayability to get better scores. But I needed a good shmup, so I had some fun with that. I'm also playing a game called Before the Green Moon, which is like almost like if Harvest Moon had a Dreamcast entry. It's a very much exploration. It's a sci-fi setting. You're like in this town at the base of this moon elevator, and your goal is to ride the elevator to get to the moon, and it costs you a lot of money to do that. So you have to start, you got to farm and you got to raise, vegetables and get animals. But a lot of it, they don't tell you. It's pretty much like, here you go. We're going to give you seeds every day. Here's how to do this. Good luck. And you have to explore the town, and the people are in different places. So you'll walk into a random cutscene, and then like I found a random axe and a random hammer someplace. I'm like, oh, now I could break up rocks and I could cut down trees. So like they give you exploration to do things, and they let you have the creative freedom to do so. And I like that. I like that it doesn't hold your hand, and it's just like explore, have fun. Interesting style. I'm having fun with it. I need to go back to do more. Also playing a game called Sail Forth. This is like if you enjoyed Wind Waker sailing, that's the whole game. But you can outfit your boat with different weapons. There's like pirates, and you can have ship to ship combat, and then you can loot them to get more stuff, and you can get more materials to build a bigger ship. And you start off like a little boat, and eventually you get to a bigger ship. The world is huge. There's side quests. There's treasure maps to find and explore. There's random sea creatures that will attack and elements, and it is an incredibly ambitious 3D sailing game, and it's a lot of fun. And if you enjoyed that aspect of Wind Waker, you never get off the ship. But if you enjoy that aspect, it's an absolute gem for you. It is really, really cool. So having a lot of fun with that one. And then on the PS5, last time I was towards the end of Final Fantasy 16, The Rising Tides. Well, I did finish it right after recording that podcast. I wound up fighting it and finishing it. And that the final battle against Leviathan, man, that was stupid. Like the battle was good, but there was one part that you had to do everything perfectly or you failed. Like I don't mind DPS checks, but I don't like them when you have to do a perfect run to get through or practically perfect. But I did enjoy it. I finished everything, and now it's like, all right, game's done. Uninstall. But I am playing on the PlayStation, which I am really enjoying Stellar Blade, which just came out, and I'm having a lot of fun with that. That's very near Automata vibes, especially with the music. It's an open world style game. Sometimes it's a more linear level. Like it opens with a linear level, then you get to like an open world. Very post-apocalyptic, really cool characters. A lot of humans versus cybernetic people versus robots. A lot of the story is told through memories. You find like dead bodies, and you can like take their memories and hear like their final thoughts, and you have to piece the backstory of a lot of it together. And the the combat is fun. It's action combat. It's the bosses are very inventive. I'm very much enjoying it. I wasn't sure how into it I would get, and I'm enjoying exploring the areas and seeing the world and learning the backstory. So I'm probably about 60% through the game at this point, but I do intend to finish that. And then PC still doing Final Fantasy 16 or 14, but they did the 16 event. They did the 16 event that ends on the 8th, so I did that. And then on mobile, still doing Mario Kart Tour.
Nice. I played when I was traveling on the airplane, I opened up Anton Blast, the Dynamite demo, and I don't know if you guys have seen this, but I feel like almost everywhere I've turned, people are praising this game like crazy. Most reviews are saying it's a fantastic game. Guys, I don't know what they're seeing in this game.
I actually heard negative stuff.
Did
about
you?
the
Okay,
demo.
well, I'm going to jump on the negative side. I was bored, and I kept thinking, I wish this was a Wario game. That's what I kept thinking. This is a Wario wannabe game, and that's what I kept thinking the whole time. The platforming is not as precise as it needs to be. The hitboxes are a little weird. It's super difficult in some places, and it's super easy in other places, and the levels themselves are way longer than they need to be. And because I think for most side scrolling platform games, like there's a length that you hit that's like, wait, this is too long. I should have finished this up and moved on to another level. And yeah, I couldn't get through the demo fast enough. I'll just say that. Like, I was ready to put it down and move on, and I was glad like that it was over, and I have no intention at all of getting the final game.
So what if they send us review codes?
It's pretty quick review for me. That's all I'm saying. Do not recommend. Just go play Wario Land instead. And then I got Pac-Man Mega Tunnel Battle Chomp Champs, which is a long name. They sent us review code, and hopefully we'll be getting a couple other review codes so Barry and Greg can take a look at it really soon too. I believe this might be a free-to-play game in the end, so if nothing else, we can hold out until it actually releases. But it's out on several different consoles. I can't remember all that they're out for, but yeah, I played it on Switch, and it's kind of like Pac-Man 99, but with extra things thrown in. And so you're playing, it's kind of like if you take Pac-Man Championship Edition and Pac-Man 99 and push them together in a way.
So are you only playing against other people, or is there single player?
I believe there might be there's training, so I think that's like single player, but it's mostly multiplayer. The idea is you do play against other people, and they are playing at the same time. So it's kind of like a battle royale kind of scenario, but they can also enter into your maze, and you can enter into their maze. And so the openings on the side, sometimes it will just swing you around to the other side, but there's also times where you can jump into their maze, eat their pellets and their ghosts, and then come back, or maybe even bump into them and cause them. So I guess it's also like that arcade game where you're playing like 4 different Pac-Man at the same time. Like that's also smushed in there too. So yeah, I didn't know this was even going to be a game that existed, and got a code for it the other day and played quite a bit of it. Yeah, I'm looking forward to playing some more. I'm not nearly as good enough, apparently, to make it to the top of the charts, which is why I stopped Pac-Man 99 a long time ago. But yeah, I think it's a fun game so far from what I've played. And especially if it ends up being free to play, might as well jump on there. And you can customize. That's where you can pay money, I think, and get coins and all that stuff, and be able to upgrade or customize your Pac-Man. And I put a hat on mine, and fun stuff like that. Get different costumes and all that stuff, and they get different maze styles as well. So your maze doesn't change, but the style of the maze is there too. So you can put on even like Galaga style on your maze, and when you jump into other people's mazes, you see theirs is different than yours and everything. So it seems pretty fun so far. And then I played a game called Hand in Hand, which I also got a code for out of the blue, and did not expect it, and hoping to get codes for you two as well at some point. This is a platforming adventure game where you control a guy and a girl, and there's not really, I didn't read about it, I just played the game, and so I think they are dating or married or some sort of, maybe they're brother and sister, who knows, but there's some sort of relationship between these two characters, and something happens, because it's all in the silhouettes, like at the very beginning of the game, and you think they're getting along, and then somehow she runs out of the house and goes one way, and he runs out of the house and goes the other way. I'm like, I have no idea what's going on, but I'm playing as him. And here's the thing: this game can be played in co-op mode, where two people are playing with two different Joy-Con or two different, I think, Pro Controller as well, but maybe at least Joy-Con. And so when you're playing it by yourself, all the one character is on one Joy-Con and all of the other characters on the other Joy-Con, which means I'm wanting to jump and attack with A and B and Y, but instead it's ZL and L. so
Oh
so
God,
I'm
those type of
moving
games drive me crazy.
with the left thumbstick
So can you
and
play with the
jumping.
Pro Controller, or do you
I
have to
haven't
play with
tried
Joy-Con?
yet. I'm sure you can. I don't know for sure. I only played it in handheld so far. But so I'm doing that with one character, and then it switches to the female character, and she's got a different set of power-ups. The guy can punch things and break through barriers and stuff like that. And then the girl is basically like Invisible Woman. So it's kind of like, if thinking Fantastic Four, it's like the Thing and Invisible Woman. There's your two characters. And so she can pass through things and stuff with ZL or ZR, and then she jumps with R. And so you're doing this and everything, going back and forth to the characters. And then you get to a point not too far into the game where it comes up split screen, and now you're controlling them both at the same time. Luckily, so far, you don't have to do a lot of things at the same time. You can leave one character sitting and switch to the other one. You can push in on the thumbsticks to like focus solely on that character if you want to. But here's the deal. Like, after I got in about, I don't know, 10 minutes into the game, I got to a part where I got the guy where he needs to go, and I'm trying to get the girl to where she needs to go, and you're supposed to be jumping off these bouncy platform mushroom kind of things. I can't get to the next one. I just keep bouncing, and she misses it by about that much, and I have no idea how to progress beyond this. So either there's some sort of glitch in it, or I just don't know how to do it. I have
You got to
jumped
butt
off.
stomp, Steve.
I have tried everything. I've tried timing it to bounce again off of it as quick as I can. I've tried, if there is some sort of butt stomp. I've tried wall jumping. There is no such thing as wall jumping. There's a little thing over to the right side. I thought, oh, maybe I'd jump on that one and then jump up. Nope, you can't land on that.
Blow into the microphone.
That is one thing I forgot to try.
You said you tried everything, Steve. Clearly
My
not.
bad. My bad.
Did you touch the screen? Did you like tap? Tap her in the ass. Go. You gotta jump. You gotta jump.
I was about to try throwing it on the ground. That's what I was about to try.
Throw it out
It's
the
like
window.
Is there any motion controls tied to it? Because if it uses the Joy-Con, because I know,
If
like
there
for
is-
like Odyssey, like they made the frog jump extra higher if you did the little ladder with it.
So I don't know, but up until this point, they've been very, very spot on about telling you what buttons to use to do what you need to do on the screen. And so if there is something like that, they have not told me anything. And I'm getting close to the area because it has two hands that are reaching out to touch each other. And I'm like, I know I'm going the right direction. I just can't get where I need to be. So the game is fun. I just don't know how to progress past this bouncy thing. So high regards for the game, except for that part, because I have no idea to progress. Maybe it's all on me. It could be. I just maybe suck. But anyway, that's hand in hand. And then I played Pokemon Go, Clash Royale, and Rocket League as well. So that's been my last week.
I do know, like in a year or two ago, me and Barry had reviewed like Minnie and Mitchie or something like that. It was like a game that was in that same kind of style where you like use both sides of the controllers to have two characters at the same time. But
yeah,
that's kind of what it was reminding me of your description of that game. But
yeah, I played a few games like that, but this one seems interesting. I wish I knew a little more about the story from the very beginning. I'm just gonna have to go read about it instead, because I hadn't heard about it, and it comes out really soon, I think, too, maybe in a week or two. So yeah, hopefully you guys can check it out as well. But normally at this time, we go to the live chat and we see what you guys have been playing as well. But since this is a pre-recorded episode, we encourage you to throw those in the YouTube comments if you're watching the video version, or let us know over on social media or on our Discord what you've been playing, because we still enjoy hearing what you've been playing, even though we're not doing this one live. And at the same time, we're going to be jumping into some news to discuss that, and we'd love to let you, or give you an opportunity to respond to what we're talking about as well. So again, throw those in the YouTube comments or social media or in our Discord. We'd love to let you share your thoughts on the stories that we're going to be talking about as well. So let's get started on those stories with jumping into the headlines. Take it away, Greg.
All right, for everyone that loved E3 in the past, there's IGN will be hosting a little event live on June 7th through the 9th in Los Angeles. It's at a place called the Magic Box at the Reef. So if you're in the area from June 7th to 9th, you can buy some tickets and see some exclusive reveals and new gameplay trailers and all things included with the special event that's going on.
And speaking of live events, Nintendo of Australia has announced that Nintendo Live 2024 is happening in Sydney. And that's happening on August 31st to September 1st. There will be gameplay, live stage events, photo ops, and more. We've seen this recently in Seattle, where everyone ran rampant with Switch 2 rumors. Will Switch 2 appear this time? We don't know, but I guess we'll find out soon.
If you're looking for some Nintendo 64 games, you can now play 2 more on a Nintendo Switch Online Plus Expansion Pass. You're going to be able to get Extreme G, which is a futuristic racing similar to F-Zero. And then you can also get Iggy's Wrecking Balls, where you race on tower-based levels with unique ball characters. So Extreme G and Iggy's Wrecking Balls, both on Nintendo Switch Plus Expansion Pack.
Speaking of old retro games, but this time going back to the NES, the Nintendo World Championship cartridge, previously one of the most expensive games to find for the NES due to the very small quantity of it, has been rated by the ESRB. So perhaps it might be coming to Nintendo Switch Online, or maybe there's some other. Maybe they're doing like a remaster of this game or something. It's only time will tell. But it's that collection of different challenges, like playing Super Mario Brothers and getting a certain amount of like 20 coins within a very short amount of time, and also like playing like Tetris and some other different games. So I guess we'll have to wait to see what this will come out down the road.
And more showcases are happening in June, as Greg mentioned, E3. Well, on June 9th, Sunday, June 9th, Xbox will be doing a presentation, an Xbox Games Showcase, followed by a direct, but it's redacted right now. They haven't revealed what it is. Last time they did Starfield. This time we don't know, and as we know, a lot of these showcases show games that will eventually find their way to the Switch, and Microsoft has been bringing a lot of their games to other platforms. So could we see the first time Nintendo Switch is actually shown off at an Xbox presentation? Who knows? But I guess we'll find out more on June 9th.
It'll be really soon. And I don't know if you guys are excited as I am, but Super Nintendo World is going to be soon opening in Universal Studios Epic Universe in Orlando, Florida. The one in California is already open, and I'm going to be visiting that in just about a month for the first time. I'm so excited. But I'm also excited because Nintendo and Universal just revealed footage of the park in Orlando, and the world will contain Super Mario Land, which is what we've known from both Tokyo and the California location so far, but it's also going to feature, get ready for it, Donkey Kong Country is coming to Epic Universe, and that's going to be opening in 2025, and it's definitely going to be featuring a minecart ride, and I'm so excited to go there too. I'm just gonna have to save up and visit them all. I have to go.
It's like a disease. You gotta go.
I have to. Well, that's our headlines for today. Greg, any further thoughts on any of those stories?
Not really a whole lot. I mean, obviously, it'll be nice to cover those presentations once they arrive here in June. That's still a little over a month away. It's great seeing the NSO getting more games there, and I did see like Kit and Krista did their own like a draft pick for games that they'd love to see join the NSO. So I don't know if that's something we would love to do. Not necessarily, it doesn't have to be N64 or anything like that, but that's always kind of fun thing to throw around Three Town. But yeah, and I'm super excited for the Super Nintendo World. I'm really hoping to try to make my way out to at least one of the parks in like the next year or so, because there's 3 of them to go to, and or there will be 3 of them to go to by like next year. But just really can't wait to make it to one of those, hopefully sometime soon.
Yeah, Barry, how about you?
Yeah, I'm really excited about Super Nintendo World in Florida, especially because it's a brand new theme park. Already discussed it with my wife. Obviously, next year is going to be insane. Like you won't be able to get in to that theme park for that year, but we want to wait for my son to be of age to remember. I'm bringing him at 1 years old, or even 2 years old. There's no memory there, and it's a waste of money. And we'd rather him be, 5 or 6, to really be able to have those memories. So that, and we figure by that time all the crazies will be done, and they'll be able to get in there, and that's when we'll do, and we'll do it like a family trip, and
Nope,
have
I'll
some
be
fun.
there. The crazies will not be gone.
You will be there, Steve. Steve will be there.
Steve's
So yeah,
moving in.
I'm gonna find my residence there.
DK's treehouse is there, right in the
Exactly.
center.
Move over, Princess Peach. I'm moving into the guest room.
So yeah, no, I'm really excited that I love what they showed off. Um, I forgot to mention for the NSO, I actually did play both games again. These are games from my childhood, or at least my high school days. I say childhood, high school days. I loved both of these games. Extreme G is phenomenal, and I wish it would never went away. But unfortunately, XGRA didn't do as well, and of course, Acclaim went bye bye. Iggy's Wrecking Balls is just my friends and I used to play that all the time. It's just a crazy fun game, and I will say playing these games with the Pro controller sucks. Like the N64 controller is so different, and it just feels different. And playing it with the Pro controller, just they're not bad, but it's like not as responsive. Especially Iggy's
Yeah.
Wrecking Ball is not as
Yeah.
responsive, and the configuration's all different. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I need to
Do you
get my
have?
NSO controller. Yeah,
I was gonna say you have one, don't you? Yeah.
I do. I didn't like. I was like, oh, it's here. Let me just. It's easy. I'm already using my Pro controller. Let me start it up and play. But I definitely will be busting that out to play more. But two fantastic games. I'm so happy they're there. As for the Nintendo World Championship NES edition, looking at the details on the ESRB, it seems like it's a different game entirely. It's not going to be a port of the original NWC cart. It's that they're going. It looks like they're taking the ideas of what that was and applying it to brand new games, and potentially doing something where it's like you're going to go 3 games at random and you've got to do, because according to the rating, there's going to be various modes like speedrunning and survival. Several challenges involve reaching a specific points, while others prompt players to defeat small enemies or survive brief battles. That wasn't the way it was in the NWC. It was beat World 1-1 of Mario, uh, do a race in Rad Racer, and then I think you play Tetris for the end, and until you ran out of time. So this is a completely different experience. Some games depict pixelated characters using small swords or arrows to strike enemies. Enemies typically get stunned or disappear in a flash. So, Zelda
Legend of Zelda.
probably, yeah, Chrysalis could be there, Final Fantasy. So based on this description, this is a brand new experience. And I know we talked about it. I'm not going to steal your thunder, Steve. We talked about a particular game series, so I'll let you talk about that. That this kind of harkens back to, and I'm excited, especially considering that there's a colon on this. It's Nintendo World Championship colon NES edition, which means if you're going to do that, you're going to have a Super Nintendo, a Game Boy Color, N64 editions. So hopefully this works well and people have fun and they keep releasing these. So let's go with that. As
But
for everything else,
Nintendo doesn't like money though, right?
that's true. That's
I mean,
true.
It's gonna be a timed exclusive.
There's
Time
been
to
all
shine.
sorts.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's been all sorts of theories on stuff with other Nintendo things, like even like Mario Maker. There was like, oh, there's plenty of room for an extra theme, but
Yeah.
here we are 5 years later, and no theme has ever surfaced. So,
So what?
I mean, while it sets again, just how we theorize, oh, where's the N64 Mini? Where's the Game Boy Mini?
Yeah.
Have those come to surface? No, just
I'm
Super
trying
Nintendo
to
and
be
NES.
positive. So yeah, no, what strikes me is that this game is rated now, which means it's obviously coming out soon because you don't rate a game until it's getting close to being done. Which we don't know anything past June. So is this going to game magically drop out of nowhere? Is this hinting that a direct is coming soon that's going to showcase this game? We don't know, but I mean, it's weird that a game gets leaked by the ESRB, but in this case, it did. So this isn't rumors at this point. This ESRB this is the official site. So this is something that is presumably coming. Also, just touch on the different presentations. Like we said, we'll cover Xbox Game Showcase and IGN Live, especially for the Nintendo stuff. And it's great to see Nintendo Live keep going on. Sydney getting something, and who knows? It's probably going to amount to the same thing as Seattle, but maybe we'll see something new. Who knows?
Yeah, probably not. But
Maybe not.
but yeah, excited. I think it'd be really really fun for Sydney to have that. Yeah, let's talk about Nintendo World Championships. Yeah, as soon as I read that, it was like, oh, this is NES Remix, like NES Remix version 2 or whatever that is, which would make sense for them to bring over. Like we were talking before recording, they made a collection on 3DS. They really need to bring that collection over to the Switch, and maybe this is their way of doing it. Maybe they're just kind of tweaking it in some ways and re-releasing it, or just redoing it in the form of the Nintendo World Championships NES collection. The thing that I thought was weird was when I saw people started to cover this online, they connected this with, okay, does this mean news of a Switch 2 is imminent? And I have no idea how they connected those thoughts at all. Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, but I saw people doing it. I'm not going to call them out, but I saw people doing that. I'm like, what? No, this is two separate things, at least in my mind, and unless they know something I don't know. But yeah, I think they should definitely do stuff like this. And I think, making those games new and fresh and putting online leaderboards and all this stuff could be really, really fun. I had a blast with NES Remix, and I think other people could as well. And I know it wasn't a perfect game, but if they can learn from that and make this one even better, I think it'd be a really, really good experience. Other events and stuff, that's cool. And so I played Extreme G back in the day. Kind of forgot about the game, but I played it, and I never played Iggy's Wrecking Balls, so I'm excited to try that one out. But I'll take your word for it, Barry, and go charge up my 64 controller just to make sure that I use it on that one. And then yes, I've already talked about my excitement for Universal Studios, and so excited that I get to go next month to California, and I'm thrilled. I can only spend one day there, and my wife really wants to spend some time in the wizarding world of Harry Potter as well. And so somehow I gotta have to just cram in enough time with Nintendo and also let her go to the Harry Potter stuff. And we're only there one day. I don't know if it's gonna happen, but
You'll
we're
do
gonna
it.
try. We're gonna try.
See,
So
I've already done the Wizarding World stuff, so I can just go there for Nintendo. I guess.
yeah. Steve, you mentioned something with NES Remix. It's been enough time that they could fix those issues. So I decided to check because I thought so. It's been over a decade since the first NES Remix came out. It came out in 2013. So think about that. It's been over 10 years.
Time flies. Wow. Yes. It's time, Nintendo. Come on.
I wasn't sure if they were just going to be, if they're able to just put it on like the NSO app too. I mean, I understand the description is slightly different, but I mean, sometimes they try to chalk it up to like hide what it actually is or
You can't
change.
do that with ESRB. When you submit to the ESRB, it's got to be actual, or you get fined if you lie about what's there. So if an ESRB description is factual, it is what it is.
Yeah, and I think if it was if it was just an actual, if they ported over the ROM from the original championships, they could possibly throw that on NSO. But I feel like this is a new game that they're creating, and that they're just calling it that. And this will be like $30-$40 probably. And a full game like in the ESRB. So
yeah, this is its own entity. The ESRB stuff for like NSO, I don't even know if they have to do that because they've already been rated. They're older, and some games like the NES games don't even have ESRB. It didn't exist at the time.
Yeah.
So I don't think they have to worry about that. That their ESRB is only concerned about new games.
Yep. Let's move on to our big stories for this episode, and we're going to start off with the Wired Direct. And so Wired Production had their Direct and showed off several different games. And in this particular presentation, it was cool because they showed off upcoming projects, but also interviews with the developers, and had several gameplay sessions with several of the games that they announced as well. So before we jump into the details, Barry, what'd you think of the Wired Direct?
I liked that they, didn't waste time. They really did get to the point. They showed off the trailers. They talked about the games. I like they have the interviews. I think that's great because sometimes just seeing a trailer isn't enough, or trailers, while they convey what the game is, you learn a lot from listening to the interviews and from hearing things, and I know that that's an extra effort, and you could tell that those interviews were mainly recorded prior to, and they were just pulling into it, which is fine. That's what we do with Premium too. But I like that they went the extra mile to do that, because I think there was like 10 games maybe shown all total. So you can get through that pretty quickly, but they took their time. So they've done this before, and they do this every year. Wired Productions has a wide variety of different games. So I'm glad to see that they're continuing this tradition. I hope they keep going, and I thought it was a good show overall.
Yeah, I agree with you. Greg, what do you think?
Probably a little bit more of the controversial take, but I guess like sometimes like the interviews and stuff like makes stuff kind of drawn on for like a little bit longer. And yes, well, it is awesome to listen to people speak about their passion projects, but if it's like some games that are not someone finding very interesting, it's almost kind of like you feel like you're like, what am I really watching here? And you're more likely to skip it, or even just drop watching it live just so you can skip it going back into the future. So at least that was my take on some of it. I mean, I was kind of rushed for time before the podcast, so I didn't really get to enjoy all the interviews and stuff. So I'm hoping to go back and be able to watch everything through completion and everything. But sometimes like less is more in some cases, and I understand you don't want to just have a trailer just be done, but maybe they could show like some of the highlights of some of the interviews in there just to strengthen like the video time. Like you don't have to just do like a straight up just trailer, boom, trailer 2, 3, 4, 10, then done in whatever in like 10 minutes. But I don't know.
I know what you're saying, Greg, and I think that if they didn't do this, but I think if you're going with that format, set a time period for like 3 minutes or 4 minutes max of an interview. And if you have a longer interview, put that as a separate video and just show a clip or a highlight or a specific question, and keep it moving. You definitely want to keep a pace. And there were some interviews that were 5 minutes or 6 minutes or even longer, and others that were a little bit shorter. So I definitely agree in that regards. They should keep it uniform. Just like trailers. I mean, trailers are always different, varying lengths. But
Yep.
I agree with you there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I mean, overall, it's a great show, and it's great to see that there's lots of upcoming games like coming by lots of various developers. So I'm definitely not knocking anyone's like passion project. I understand not all games are for me directly, even though like they want games to be for every single person. But there's things that we like and things that we don't really like, and another thing were things we don't have time to play because there's lots of other games that are out there too.
Yeah.
Amen.
So yeah, I'm really glad they did the interviews as well, because there are a couple of these trailers that I watched that I'm like, because I'm taking notes, for their podcast to talk about it. I'm like, I have no idea what this game is about. And I'm so glad that they had the interview afterwards that they said, this game's about blah, blah, blah. I was like, oh, thank you. I needed that because your trailer told me nothing. But
Well,
but yeah.
yeah. Unfortunately, we're in an age where some of the trailers are just like cutscenes or something, so it's like not actual gameplay, and then you get kind of tripped up, like, wow, that looks really awesome, but it's actually just like a little story segment, and it's like the gameplay is nothing like it. It's the unfortunate age of the industry. It's
Right.
not all times is actual gameplay actually shown.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, let's jump into these games, and as Barry said, there was 10 games, that basically 9 that were shown off, and a special one at the end that we really didn't get a whole lot of information for. We're just going to jump through those 3 at a time, and to start off with, we'll talk about Gory Cuddly Carnage. So this is a third-person hack and slash action game with lots of gore, where you play as a cat. Of all creatures, the cats keep popping up in video games here recently. There are 3 major pillars to this game, according to the developers: combat, the cinematic story, and traversal, which also includes racing and different aspects of the game. This is going to be coming out on August 29th, including the Nintendo Switch. Then we also had Karma, The Dark World. This is a first-person psychological horror mystery game. You are a nightcrawler spending most of your time exploring people's brains to study them and find secrets. And I don't believe we got a date for this game. It's just coming out sometime in the future. And then the third game we're going to talk about right now is a game called Deliver Us to the Moon. This originally launched back in 2019, where you blast off and explore space, escape danger in this adventure game set on the moon. And the big news was that it came out to all the other consoles and PC back in 2019, but it's coming to the Switch this summer. So, Greg, what'd you think of these 3 games?
Um, the Cuddly Carnage one was probably the most interesting to me. Just something like with playing as cats. Like, I'm really excited for that big cat, the Little City Big Cat, or whatever that game that's gonna be coming out that we'll be discussing at the end of the podcast. But I know this one's a little bit more of a gory and hack and slash ones, but sometimes like some of those can be kind of fun if it's whatever, like Hyrule Warriors style, where you're just like slashing away at like hordes and enemies and seeing all the gore and stuff. I don't know how much I'll get into it, but that one was the main one that at least stood out. Like, I'm not really into the psychological and horror type games, and also like the some of the space games I'm not really too big on either. So that one was the main one that stood out to me.
Nice. Barry, any of these stand out?
Yeah, Gory definitely stood out. It looks hilarious. It looks like a lot of fun. It reminds me of like a Dreamcast style game. Like, it's very colorful, and today so many games are like grayscale still, and like that was very polar opposite of grayscale. And cats versus unicorns, like, what the hell? Where did that come from? I'm all here for it though. You got the skateboard attitude of like the late '90s, and like, hell yeah, let's do it. The Karma, I think this trailer is fantastic. I love this trailer. I think there's so much mystery and intrigue, and like, it left me going, what is going
Mm-hmm.
on? Like, I just don't understand everything, but I know I'm not supposed to. It's a psychological adventure, and I'm not a first person guy, which kind of sucks because it's first person. But it intrigues me. I definitely want more. And Deliver Us to the Moon is or Deliver Us to the Moon. I remember when this came out, and it looked really interesting, but I never did play it. And I'm glad that developers are finding ways to say this won't run on Switch, and I guess either newer methods or just newer techniques, or they say screw it, the Switch is selling so well, we have to figure out a way to get it to the Switch, that we get this on the Switch. And I think, space exploration is always something that's fascinated me, and I know there's a huge market for it, and you know if this game wasn't worth it, they wouldn't have spent the time to port it. So, I haven't seen reviews, but obviously the reviews were good enough that they said this game is worth the cost, because to port to the Switch, it's going to cost more money. And that to me tells me it's worth attention.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if I'll end up getting any of these games, but they were all really intriguing. I mean, um, seeing, I mean, honestly, when I first saw Gory, I was like, what in the heck is this? But then also that they announced it for Switch, I was like, really? They're porting this over? Okay, cool. And I don't think Karma, at least as it currently looks, is probably going to come to Switch. But the fact that they got Deliver Us to the Moon over there means that, maybe they'll eventually bring Karma over, or it's for Switch 2 or Switch Pro or whatever down the line, because that'll be more powerful. But yeah, all these games looked intriguing. I don't know if I'll get any of them, but I think that probably the one that definitely grabbed my attention the most was Karma. And it's like, this is one of those games that I'm like, I have no idea what this game is all about. And I'm so glad they did that developer interview, because like it was just so confusing. But at the same time, I'm like, oh, like I'm not really into a lot of the psychological horror kind of games, but okay, this could be something that I could possibly get into. So yeah, cool stuff to see. And Delivers to the Moon, I need to look more into, because I didn't realize that that game even existed, let alone that now they're so excited about porting it over to Switch. But next 3 games are, we get to see Hotel Architect, and this was originally teased back in 2022. This is a cutesy hotel simulator where you build, design, staff, and run a hotel, and then expand to new locations and build your hotel empire. And it looks like, to me, those little what's it called? The play set things when you're like a little kid. You have those little people moving around. That's
Little
basically
people or something.
little people. Yeah, that's what it looks like. And then we also got we saw a charity spot for Safe in Our World, and this is a charity that really focuses on creating and fostering mental health awareness in the video game industry. And they announced their first ever Safe in Our World Mental Health Game Dev Championships event. And this is a competition encouraging people to make games and compete in games that really mean something, especially coming out of the COVID quarantine time, which is their theme for this first contest. And then we get to see a game called Lumote. This is a puzzle platformer that released back in 2020, but there's a free high-definition upgrade available now and a co-op companion mode coming very soon. So, Barry, what'd you think of these 3 games?
Hotel Architect definitely has a Sims style vibe, and while it's only coming to PC right now, like I could easily see that coming to the Switch. Like that, to me, that feels like, I think they said the early access they were bringing it to, so they're probably letting it early access on PC first, add extra content, and then down the road bring it to Switch, because that easily can run on this system. The Saving Our World thing, I love charity events like that. I think it's great. I think it's a great competition. I think mental health is very important, and I think a lot of people suffered from episodes during the COVID time because they just separation. So it's great to see what these devs do, and hopefully they have that, at the Games Award they have the Games for Impact kind of deal. Hopefully we see some of these be nominated. So I think it's great to foster that, and then we'll see what happens. And Lumote's a game I have. I just never played it. It looks interesting. It came out for the Switch a while back, so it's nice to see a co-op, and them going back to adding that, and of course the high definition update. I don't know if Switch is going to get that, but I'd be curious to to see what it does for Switch.
Sure, we're high definition. Greg, what'd you think of these 3?
Well, the Remote one, I didn't realize it was just they're just doing an update on it. So I'm always intrigued by puzzle platformers. So it might be something that I check out relatively soon-ish to see if there's like a demo or even other trailers to see, because I really like the platforming, and especially with the puzzles and stuff. That's like very Zelda-esque there. So that definitely was the most interesting, at least of these 3. But as you guys were saying with the charity thing, that's great to see that they like even already have their own like challenge and stuff issued out. So that will be really great to see what like comes of that. And the Hotel Architect, I can't even talk. The hotel game obviously might not be my cup of tea directly. I'm not always into the simulation type games as much on at least PC or whatever. So, I mean, if it does come to Switch, great. But I feel it could do really good with having like the touchscreen and everything, because usually that makes building and stuff a lot more easier to handle when you have a touchscreen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you guys as well. Like, I love the mental health stuff. Excited to see what's coming from that. Okay, Hotel Architect, I'm not going to be playing it. But Lumote, I didn't even realize the game existed. Again, so I'm thankful for stuff like this because I didn't realize it was a thing, let alone that it was on Switch. And so I'm interested now, and going to be seeing, even if they don't do the update for Switch, which I think they are at some degree. I mean, it's not going to look as good as it does on PS5, but I think the updates for all platforms. But that'd be exciting to check it out, I think, at some time in the future. So let's move on to the last set of 3 games, and this one is not coming to Switch, but it's called Dig VR, unless the Switch 2 has a VR headset attached to it. But right now, it's only going to be coming to MetaQuest, available very soon. It's a cartoony virtual reality game where you operate heavy machinery. So you're going to be. Looks like Mii's are walking around in this game though, so they should bring it to Switch. But except for Mii's are dead in Switch, so they should bring it to Wii. But that's Dig VR. You also get Bulwark Falconeer Chronicles DLC. This game originally launched in back on March 26th, so not too long ago. And this is a game where you trade tribute and Splinters. This is a trade, tribute, and Splinters update. That's what I was trying to say. Trade, tribute, and Splinters update offers a new navigational compass, collects and spend splinters, new diplomacy event, turn enemies into vassals, new merchant ships, and improve wonders. But it's not listed on the Nintendo Switch as far as I know. But that is it's new DLC coming out for Bulwark. And then finally we got Arcade Paradise VR, which Arcade Paradise is a game that it does exist on Nintendo Switch. This is a game that originally released on PC and consoles back in 2022. It's a business sim where you run an arcade, and it launched on MetaQuest on April 25th, so just a few days ago. And there's also a Jukebox expansion DLC coming very soon. So, Greg, what's your thoughts on these 3 games?
Well, the Bulwark one did seem kind of somewhat interesting, but if it's not on Switch, then unfortunately I probably won't be able to look too much further into it. But obviously, if it does come, then there'll be something down the road to consider. The Dig VR, like you were saying, it looked like it would be a perfect Wii title, especially with like the Mii's and even some of the graphics that were kind of shown. But seems also mildly like intriguing, as like you are doing digging and stuff, kind of like SteamWorld Dig and whatnot. But with it not being on Switch, it's pretty much an immediate pass for me for the most part. But the Arcade Paradise did seem kind of somewhat interesting. It kind of looks like you'd actually play all of your arcade games that are inside your own arcade that you're running. So I don't know. That might be another thing that I have to check out other trailers just to kind of see more about it, just to see if it's something I should pick up.
Yeah. Barry, how about you?
Yeah, Arcade Paradise is great. It is you get to play all the games and make the your arcade and run it and stuff, and it definitely got high regards. So I think the VR update is really great. I don't know if I'll be able to do much, because I know you're walking around, like actually playing the games wouldn't be an issue. Like walking around the arcade might be, but I think that's cool. I love that they're doing this VR update for it, and I might have to check it out on the MetaQuest. That's for sure. The Dig VR, my first thought immediately went back to Lawnmower Simulator, and I wanna destroy the crap out of something and see if
Yes.
someone chases me down in VR. Like put this over there, okay, and like you just instead like throw it away and just dig in the wrong spot, and like find a gas pipe or something, hit a gas pipe, see if I can create an explosion or something, just
Yes.
whatever carnage I can do with these Miiverse things. That's what I want to do. And Bulwark looks cool. It sucks that it's not coming to coming to the Switch. But again, maybe a lot of this stuff could be Switch 2 launch titles or launch window titles, and that's usually how it comes to be. So especially now is the time to pay attention to games that aren't coming to Switch, because they're very likely going to be a sizzle reel in the Nintendo Direct or something. Go, oh, that's coming to Switch, and we were seeing, or Switch 2, like we're seeing stuff like Kingdom Come Deliverance now coming to Switch, and it's like, if you'd only played on the Switch, you wouldn't have paid attention to that game, and now suddenly it's there. So you really have to pay attention to everything at this point, because the Switch 2 is a giant question mark. We just don't know much about it.
Right. Barry, I really hope that you do get Dig VR on your MetaQuest, and you should definitely stream your experience with it, especially if people do run after you once you destroy things. I know we're a Nintendo channel, but still, we'll make an exception for that.
I'd like to see that kind of level of detail to see if there actually are like hiding like gas lines and water lines and other stuff.
Yeah, that stuff's under there.
So I mean, a lot of the other digging games don't usually have that kind of sense of realism. You're just like, oh, you just dig all the dirt and find gems, and that's how it is. But if this one actually goes that extra step and makes it very real, like you are running a construction business and digging, then that would be really interesting to see.
Yeah. So yeah, I really hope that some of these games. I don't think Bulwark is a game that I'm excited about, but I do hope it does come to Switch, and we get to check that out. And then we got this last little bit of a teaser, and when I say teaser, I really mean teaser. They showed like next to nothing, but apparently in the end they showed off that LKA and Wired are working on a new third project together. But that's about it. We have no details whatsoever. They showed it on a DOS screen. So old school like DOS screen. So maybe it has something to do with that, or maybe that's just the way they decided to show it off. I have no idea. But LKA and Wired are working on some sort of third project together. Barry, any insights or speculation on what this could be?
I have no idea. I've heard great things about Martha's Dead. I never played it, but Town of Light, I did not like that game. It was a walking simulator. It was an interesting story, but it just, and maybe it's because I played the Switch version, it didn't, like, it started giving me headaches. Like, it's an intriguing scenario, so I don't know what they're doing this time, and I'm certainly interested to see what it could be. I hope it has to do with old DOS stuff. I think that'd be kind of cool, because they definitely laid heavy with that. Like that was the whole feature of the trailer, the teaser. So I guess we'll see.
Yeah, Greg, any thoughts about that?
Nothing really to expand on that, because I mean, that's when you only show like a 5-second clip and it's just a little bit of like a DOS prompt window, and like that's pretty much beyond it. It's like, it's not like it's a recognizable like a brand or something. Like, oh yeah, I understand. Like there's whatever new Smash Brothers game or something. Like it's not like it's something that's very discernible or easily identifiable. So it's just kind of more interesting to see what comes of it. I mean, we don't know if it's any way related to the game or the project or whatever, but I guess we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah. Well, that brings us to the end of the Wired Productions Showcase, the Wired Direct 2024. So yeah, be sure to let us know what you think about that in the YouTube comments, or also over on social media or our Discord. We'd love to know what you think about all the games that were shown off. And now we're going to move into another showcase, and Barry's going to explain this a little bit. And just a heads up, this is an Xbox event, and so we don't really know anything from the event itself, if anything's coming to Switch. But some of these games could be, and maybe Barry's got some more information to let us know if any of them are definitely coming to Switch. So Barry, take it away.
That I don't unfortunately have, but yeah. So
I hope you had some inside information.
At least nothing I can talk about. So ID at Xbox, which is Xbox's independent games division, much like Indie World for Nintendo, did a showcase with IGN, hosted by IGN, an ID at Xbox digital showcase, and they covered a lot of games that are confirmed coming to Xbox, and confirmed coming to PC. But that does not mean that they're not going to other platforms. These are not Xbox published games. These are just independent games working with Xbox. And sometimes this could be Xbox first for a bit, much like Nintendo has timed exclusives, and then will eventually find their way onto the Switch. So everything here again, or Switch 2, you know, this could be your next favorite game coming soon. So I'll guess I'll copy what you did, Steve, and do like 3 games a time, or I guess 3, 4, and then we'll do a montage later on as well. So the first, and these are I believe in alphabetical order. So one of the games I showed off was 33 Immortals, from newest game from Thunder Lotus. Thunder Lotus has had games on other platforms, so I do not think this is going to be exclusive. This is a co-op roguelike. I know there's Steve's favorite word. 33 players, up to 33 players, all at the same time. It almost has like some MMO aspects, I think. The next game they show off, All You Need Is Help, from Q Games Limited, and this is like it's like a puzzle type game where everyone becomes Tetris blocks, but made out of yarn. Really, really, it's a co-op puzzle game. Looks adorable and very unique. And then Aster, Blade of the Monolith. This is from C2 Game Studios, and Tiny Build is actually publishing this. This is a fast-paced action RPG. So we'll start with those, and we'll go with you first, Greg. What are your thoughts on those?
Well, I didn't really watch the entire thing to completion, but the 33 Immortals did look somewhat interesting. I do like that kind of style gameplay, but like as you said, Steve's favorite word with the roguelike, it just doesn't seem. It depends on how they do it. I mean, they're the ones that you do have do have a sense of permanence where you can carry over into future runs. Usually makes things a little bit better. So there is like progress as opposed to the full reset and everything is just 100% different every single time you play the game. So I guess I would have to just see if there's more on like which way they're going with that one. But All You Need Is Help did look very cutesy and very fun to play. I don't know if it just requires other players or if there'll be like a single player mode, because that would be kind of interesting to try to do it, but I don't know if it necessarily would be much of a challenge if it was single player only. But that one did seem very promising. It can easily be done on Switch as well too. And then the Astra Blade of Monolith is kind of looks like a Hades similar kind of combat game, and that sometimes those are kind of hit or miss with me, and so I'll have to further see like if it does get announced for Switch or Switch 2 to see if that'd be up my alley there, because some of those I do enjoy, but some of them, if it's really combo heavy, is where I usually get turned away.
Yeah.
And what about you, Steve?
I am so torn on 33 Immortals because of that roguelite statement. However, because this is different and 33 players at once and co-op battles and everything, I feel like this could be different, and maybe it's okay if this is roguelike. I don't know. I'm interested enough to keep following it, but I'm still hesitant because I don't historically like those kind of games, and I do wish that they would just stop with it. It's way too many. We had comments on our last podcast about like, why is it such a common style nowadays? And I feel like it's almost run its course. Like, it was cool when like, oh cool, we can do procedurally generated stuff and all these different things, and now it's like, okay, stop. Like, every other game that comes out feels like it's another roguelike. But yeah, I'm with you on the all you need is help. It seems cute. Probably not my alley. But a game that really intrigued me right off the bat, I think this was the first game they showed off, was Aster, Blood of the Monolith. Like, I was immediately pulled in. I don't know if it will come out on Switch or not, but I've got an Xbox, and this is a game I would probably pick up. So fast-paced action RPG. I love RPGs, as I've said in the past, but I just don't play them nearly as much as I want to because they take way too much time. But action RPGs, I still got time for those. Those are a little faster and don't usually require like 200 hours to put in. So yeah, it looks fantastic as well.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Aster does look absolutely fantastic. Very hyped for that. I actually really like 33 Immortals too. It gave me kind of like Dragalia Lost, MMO vibes, and I think it's interesting how, like, you know, you can beat a boss with less than 33 people. Obviously, if you have 33 total, it's going to be easier. And I feel like there's going to be people that are going to try to push the boundaries and find the right combinations to beat it with as limited, number of people as possible. But you also have to pay attention. It's one of those where the less people you have, the more you have to be on your A game. Versus, so many people, it's like a zerging, you're just throwing everybody out there. And the all you need is help. I thought it looked crazy. I definitely think that could be a lot of fun playing with friends. Like if we were all just playing it and trying to figure it all out, I think we could have a lot of fun with that. So hopefully we see those on Switch. The next one was Centum, which is from Serenity Forge. And Serenity Forge puts a lot of games on Switch, so it wouldn't surprise me if this is going to make it there as well. It's an unreliable narrative-driven adventure game. And stories are always more fun when there's an unreliable narrator. It just creates new things. Then Commando's Origins was showed off. That's from Calypso Media, another company that puts a lot of games on other platforms. And this is a reboot of the iconic Commandos franchise. So it's really cool to see, to be able to have older franchises come back. And Dungeons of Hinterberg was shown off. That's from Curve Games. This is Hinterberg is a new tourist hotspot in the Australian Alps. So you brave dungeons and use your head, magic skills, a whole bunch of stuff to survive. So it seems kind of like an action RPG in a sense too. Again, but we'll go to you, Steve, first. What do you think of these three games? Anything that stems out?
I'm gonna be honest and I'm gonna be quick. Nothing.
Whoa.
Yeah. This was one of these three games. I was like, yeah. I'm not a big like click and what are those things called, like the point and click game. Not a big fan of those. I'm sure that the story is probably intriguing and everything, but not a big fan of those. Never was a big fan of the original Commandos game, so rebooting it, cool, but not for me. And Dungeons of Hindenburg, yeah. I it could be interesting. It just didn't grab me though. Like it wasn't like in the sea of other games that are grabbing my attention more. This one just didn't do it for me.
What about you, Greg?
Well, hot take. I thought these three were better than the first three that we talked about. So.
That's awesome.
The Dungeons of Hindenburg looked really interesting to me. That looked very colorful Zelda-esque type game where you're solving puzzles and doing things like with different physics and environments, and that's always been kind of interesting. I do like my RPGs to have like some of those puzzle elements in there, kind of like Zelda. And then also with the Sentium, like it was kind of almost getting like that. Even though it may be point and click type adventure, but it's also could be like a story driven, like a our favorite Life is Strange type game too. So I don't know how deep it goes, but obviously I just need more information. I mean, that's kind of what I was getting from like the narrative on that side. Commandos, I don't know if that's in relation to the Commando game that was on the NES, but because I had that one, but I don't think I've ever played the Commandos with the S on the end of it. And that was probably the least intriguing one of the three. I'm not usually into the World War II type games, but yeah, the other two were a lot higher on the list for me.
Yeah, actually, I'm going to echo Greg on this. I think Dungeons of Hinterberg looks like a lot of fun. And Serenity Forge has been knocking it out of the park when it comes to which physicals they've put out and which games they've put out. I mean, they did the Shadows Over Loathing recently. They did the Sword and Fairy. They did the now I can't think of it. The one we reviewed. Shoot, now I can't think. I'll come to me later on. Another RPG. They've been really doing well with their releases, so I'm excited to see what they do with Centum. I think again, an unreliable narrator always gets me as a writer. It always intrigues because there's always going to be that bait and switch at the end where you're just like, oh, I know all this. Oh no, they were unreliable. They've been lying to you this entire time. You're seeing it from a warped perspective. Commandos, like you said, it wasn't my type of game, but it wouldn't surprise me to see that hitting the Switch as well. So I'm going to skip over the game montage and go back because that's a lot of games in one. So going forward, Farah The Sundered Tribes is coming from Massive Damage Games. It is an open world co op survival crafting RPG, blends monster hunting and colony sim mechanics. So it's nice to see those two things blended. Then a game that made me think of my wife, Hangry, a game from from Game Pill, because my wife gets very hangry when she does not eat. So of course I'm like, I teased her with this. I said, look, they made a game about you. So this is about exploring the galaxy and discovering new life, uh, where you get to eat it, and it's life attacking life. It's snack. They call it a snack and slash RPG. Uh, this looks like fever dream material, but at the same time wonderful and amazing, and almost makes me think of oh god, that other game that came out with the PS5 when it launched too. And now I can't think of it, with all the weird creatures that were all different fruit. That's gonna hit me again. You know, I'll get into it in a second. And then Humanity. Humanity is coming from Enhance. It is a puzzle solving and action platforming game. Puts the fate of all of mankind in your hands. And you're also a dog. You're a dog as you play this game. So we have all these cat games. Now we got a dog game. Greg, what did you think about these three games?
Definitely not as high as like the last three that we just talked about. Humanity also kind of has like that Lemmings kind of vibe to it, and some of those are kind of hit or miss. Where it's okay to that I enjoy some of those, and other times I don't necessarily do it. So that one was probably the most interesting of these three. The Hangry one is not really my type of game, even though like it does match pretty good descriptions of like when you are not really eating, like when you're at a normal time frame, and then you get always like super hangry. Like I have done that with my ex and stuff too, so that was kind of fun there. But um, yeah, the Pharaoh one is I'm not really into like the Monster Hunter type games after having tried those like actual Monster Hunter on Wii U and 3DS. So it's pretty much, I already know that those games aren't really for me. Taking down the mega sized bosses and extreme crafting and all the other stuff that goes along with it to make it like a super long gameplay session.
Yeah. I
What about you,
think
Steve?
I think I mean of these three, Fair is definitely the game that stood out the most to me. Um, but it is intriguing that it's only been announced for PC, which I was like,
Yeah.
wow, it's not even coming to Xbox, at least as of right now. So that's interesting, intriguing. I think the crafting side of it is what has me hesitant, because I think the Monster Hunter style stuff is fun. I enjoy those games a lot. I haven't played a lot of the recent ones because they just got way too big and they involved a lot of crafting and stuff. And it as I've said about traditional RPGs, I just don't have the time for those anymore. So yeah, I think I'm still a little hesitant. But if it's only for PC, I'm never going to have a chance to play it anyway. But the other two games were not for me. I like puzzle platformer action games, but not the way Humanity is doing it. And what was the other one? Forgot what it's called. Hangry. Yeah. It looks interesting, but I'll stick to other stuff.
Yeah, the game I was thinking of was Bug Snacks. Made me think of Bug
Hmm.
Snacks. But yeah, I think Pharaoh looks really cool. I'm not sure about the crafting thing again. Like that's always a hit or miss. Hangry looks like a lot of fun. I would play Hangry. Humanity, like Greg said with the lemmings, I'm not a big lemmings guy. So I will definitely be passing on that. So next three has the one that immediately I thought of Steve. I'm like, oh, Steve has got to be playing this. I want Steve to stream this game. He needs to. He needs to play this with the community, and that is Jackbox Naughty Pack. That is. I don't see why this wouldn't come to Switch. All the other Jackbox games, of course, do. If you don't know what Jackbox is, they're party games, and this is the first one that's going to be specifically designed to be mature, full of spicy surprises. Let's be real, most games of Jackbox do already go to the naughty thing. People will draw pictures and draw full of things. People will use different terminology and quiplash and stuff. So it depending on your crowd, of course. I mean, with church group, you probably do nice and wholesome, but for my parties, it usually divulges into the bad stuff already. So this is perfect. I'm excited for this one. I'll just say off the bat, but I really want to see Steve stream this. So if you want to see Steve stream this, you got to comment. Let us know. Next game is Keylocker, another one from Serenity Forge. It's a bizarre, colorful, turn-based rhythm JRPG. So that is coming. It has a lot of the charm and physical comedy of the Mario Luigi games, so that's really kind of cool. And then we have Lost Records, Bloom and Rage. This is from Don't Nod. This is here we go. We got Don't Nod. Life is Strange was mentioned earlier. This is the developers of Life is Strange. It is a narrative adventure set in the fictional town of Velvet Cove in 1995, and the trailer features a recording, like a VCR or a camcorder style recording, with it a very dark, twisted end joke into that trailer. That, knowing Don't Nod, I'm sure there's nothing to that. I'm sure there's no foreshadowing or anything at all.
Nah.
Never. So Steve, we got to jump to you right away. What do you think of these three?
Well, I did see, like, so Jackbox has got me on their PR list and everything, and so I did see that this game was going to be coming out. You know what? I'm happy for people that need this, because, like, I know a lot of people do want to go there when they play these games, and so I'm glad that there's a separate pack for those games that people are really gonna enjoy, a mature slant to that. And I'm really glad for people like me who they've decided not to put that in the regular Jackbox packs, so I don't have to worry about them accidentally popping up when I'm playing my game sessions. So glad it exists for people that enjoy it. But I'd say the standout of this was definitely Lost Records, Bloom and Rage. Man, like the graphic style of, like, going back to that camcorder kind of thing, and I was like, well, this is interesting. And it was great because they have this style for sure. Like, Don't Nod has this style, and as soon as it started, I was like, this looks like a Don't Nod game. I was like, it is a Don't Nod game. That's why it looks like one. So yeah, it definitely grabbed my attention. And of all of them, this is I think Aster and this one are the two that rose to the top for me, for sure.
And Greg, what about you?
Yeah, I definitely do agree that the Lost Records does sound very interesting, because it is like that life, a lot more, since it's is the developers of Life of Strange doing it. So I really hope to see that one come to Switch, because I really did like True Colors, and still need to get back to 1 and 2 that were dropped on Switch, I guess, over a year ago now, it feels like. But yeah, definitely hoping that one makes it way over there. I'm not really into the rhythm game, so Keylocker wasn't really something that I'll be checking out or be looking forward to. And the Jackbox games, I'll second Barry. Steve needs to stream this, and I really think we need to get some, like, comments or like a like goal to get Steve to stream it out like, with some of his friends.
20 million.
You need
20
something more
million.
attainable.
Nope.
Come on, Steve.
Nope. You don't think we're good? That we're that good enough? Greg's
20
doubting
million.
our audience.
That's a lot. You know what you need to do? You
Well,
need to put this in a clip and make it go viral.
I mean, it'd be different if we've already hit like that 100,000 subscriber watch. Then, like, yeah, then I feel like that could be a goal. But with us not being that, I wish we were a lot more famous where we could easily hit that goal. But I'm just trying to be realistic. That
Mr.
don't
B,
think that we'll
help
hit
us
that.
out.
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree with you on Lost Records. Absolutely looks phenomenal. I'm very psyched for that. Keylocker looks like it could be a lot of fun too. I'd have to wait and see more. And I'm very excited for Jackbox. And now I now know that I need to absolutely play Jackbox with Steve. Like, I absolutely have to. And we need to count how many times Steve blushes, because I am a dirty Jackbox. But I can keep it clean. But believe me, if I'm with a right group of people, it's gonna get bad, but it's gonna be funny bad. Not just like sex. Like, that's that's amateur. But really, just have fun with it, you know. So it definitely has to be a thing. So we need to have a night where we all get together and play Jackbox. We can easily do that with one person, stream it using our phones. And yes, absolutely, we're gonna have some fun, right, Greg? We're gonna have some fun. We can
I
see how
would.
many times we
I,
can make.
I think that I would have a lot of fun with that too. Like, I think it'd be really fun to play a game like that, Cards
Would be.
vs. Humanity type game with eBerry. That sounds like it'd be a lot of fun. But
Absolutely. Oh yeah, come on. We're you know what? We have to grow old. We never have to grow up. And I never did, and I never will.
maybe
Then
me
we
and
got
Barry
more.
need to join Steve out for in LA, and we can all play it together in person, and then enjoy Super Nintendo World.
That'd be great. You know, a little tough to get out right now, unfortunately. So then we got Power World. Once again, Power World is showing off. It's coming, obviously, Xbox. But new pals are coming this summer, and boy, do they look like Pokemon. So new species, 4 new species were shown off. I really want to see Power World come to Switch. I don't know if it ever will, but I'd love to see that happen. Then we got Promise Mascot Agency from Kaizen Gameworks. This is a cursed town of Kazomachi. You get to explore, recruit, and train a variety of mascot friends. It's very weird, weird game, very Japanese. So it's very odd that this is shown off for Xbox. But yeah, we shall see. And then we had Stampede Racing Royale from Sumo. It's a wild, thrilling 60-person online kart battling battle royale style game. Um, so we'll see if this comes out. This is interesting. Over 400 customizable items. Nintendo started something with this whole 99 stuff. So we'll see if this hits the Switch. But Greg, we'll go to you first. What do you think of these 3 games?
Stampede thing does look pretty much the most interesting because I absolutely love Mario Kart, and even to a lesser extent like Diddy Kong's Racing, like what they try to do to change it up a little bit different. And I don't know. I almost don't know if like Mario Kart 9 is gonna be trying to go down this route as well too. I don't know, but it would certainly be interesting to see if they are capable of making servers that much bigger. But um, not at least what we're paying for, at least for our service that we're currently getting. So I guess we'll have to wait and see where that goes there. But um, yeah, the Promise Mascot Agency, probably not really the game for me there. And I do agree with you, Barry. I think it would be kind of interesting to see a Pal World go to a Nintendo platform, but I already know that they've already got the Pokemon Company already got lots of inquiries about this already. So I have no idea what's to even come of it, or if they'll try to challenge it just based on how similar some of those designs are. I mean, I don't know if they're just like some of them look like they just like changed like 1 or 2 pixels because I swear they look exactly like some of the existing Pokemon, and I don't know how like they're not taken down already, but I
What's
don't
funny
know.
is Power World's actually going after other studios doing Pokemon clones, saying that they're now Power World clones. So it's really, really funny.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you, Steve?
I thought I heard that the Pokemon Company was actually going after Power World as
They
well.
might be.
I think they might be, or at least have been trying to issue cease and desist sort of things. I think already. I don't know if they've taken them to court yet, but it wouldn't surprise me because this is getting ridiculous. Like, I mean, come on, guys. Like, do more than just change a couple colors. I think your game is fantastic, looks great, but come on, be original. Promise Mascot Agency, yeah, it's not for me, but looks crazy. Stampede Racing Royale is probably the game that stood out to me, not because I'm excited about it, but because I'm interested in how they're going to do it. Because 60 players online in a kart battle royale sounds like something that most servers won't be able to handle. Because I played other,
Nintendo did F-Zero 99, right?
I guess so, but I don't know if this seems bigger than that, I guess. And I don't know because I just know like where Epic is like one of the biggest games with Fortnite, and having Rocket Racing in there is horrible. Like you're basically racing against ghosts who are also on there, and sometimes you'll pass someone and you think, oh yeah, I got first place or whatever, and then all of a sudden the results come up and you're like, oh, I got third, because somehow along the line I was lagging enough and they actually got first and I didn't or whatever. And so that just sounds like a mess, especially if you add in the regular stuff with kart racers like Mario Kart. There's probably going to have different battle mechanics and throwing items and stuff like that. And I don't know if the server is going to be able to handle that. And because of that, I guarantee it's not coming to Switch. This is going to be for sure an Xbox and PC game, probably exclusively, maybe on PS5 at some point. But I guarantee the Nintendo servers cannot handle that. Maybe the next one will. I like your idea, Greg, about like Mario Kart 9 or 10 moving in that direction. That could be exciting. And if Nintendo can handle it, then fantastic. But I'm interested to see how this actually plays out.
Yep.
To be fair, Mario Kart Tour, when actually battling against people online, like there's times where like you'll hit them with a green shell and it's like nothing happened. Like even though they got hit, you see them start doing the animation, but they never slow down. And I'm like, what the heck? I hit them. Or you do a mushroom and you're like, yeah, mushroom. And why am I not gaining anything on this other person? I'm using a mushroom. So
Yeah.
it's very frustrating. So I can definitely see that being an issue. Like you guys, I'm interested to see how Stampede Royal Racing Royale works. It's got a good promise, but that doesn't mean anything. Power World, like you said, it's interesting that they're still doing this. I just love to see it come to Switch. And Promise Mascot Agency looks crazy. I don't think I'd play it, but it looks crazy, and I'm all for letting people get crazy. Well, the last 4 games together here. Sulfur is from Perfect Ransom, and it's a first-person shooter mechanics with role-playing and roguelike elements. There's that word again for you, Steve.
Yay.
Single-player hardcore roguelike extraction shooter. So it looks kind of interesting. Tales of Iron 2, Whiskers of Winter. The first game came to Switch and is on Switch. So I have no reason to believe that the second game will not be. And from what I've heard, the first game is fantastic. So this is action RPG, and obviously the follow-up to the original Tales of Iron. Times and Galaxy was shown up. This is from Fellow Traveler, who I am friends with. There's over 100 alien weirdos in Times and Galaxy, a space journalism adventure game. It's going to be funny, heartfelt, and should be interesting. I always love when they do different alien creations and creativity. And the last game, which is one we've talked about before, Vampire Survivors, was once again shown off about the new characters with the Contra, as well as the new evolutions, new weapons, new passive, stuff like that. And they already announced that it was coming to Xbox prior to. So go to you first, Steve. What do you think of these last 4 games before we do the montage thing?
Yeah, I think of these 4, Tales of Iron 2 is probably the one that stands out to me. I remember seeing the original game. I never played it, but I remember thinking, oh, that looks pretty good. And then I forgot about it because, the sea of all these games that are out. But yeah, this one was definitely the one that grabbed my attention the most. And definitely interested in it. And then I'm so glad that like they told us later that Vampire Survivors Contra DLC has already been announced, because I was like, the whole time I'm watching this trailer, I'm like, I feel like I'm having deja vu. I've seen this before. And if it's
Was
not,
that the AAA
here we go,
initiative?
another Pal World thing, and then they're just showing off a Pokemon game. But yes, yeah, I've definitely seen this before. It looks interesting. I don't know if I'm going to get it, but I love that they're bringing Contra into it, and yeah, we didn't find out anything new, I don't think, about it. It just looks just as exciting as it did before.
What about you, Greg?
Yeah, the Contra aspect does have me very interested in it, so I would love to see it come to Switch, but I
It
have
is
no
coming to
idea.
Switch. Vampire Survivors has been on Switch, and the Contra
Oh,
DLC is going to Switch.
well then, great. That's awesome news there.
It's going to download
I,
right
I
now.
yeah, I almost forgot that was part of it. Because I know this was the Xbox Direct that we're talking about here, so it's almost a reminder. Like it's almost like it's probably not coming to Switch. It's just a fever dream that I'd love to play like a modern Contra thing. But I did forget that was on the last last episode, actually, I think it was. But
Yeah.
yeah, that one is definitely very interesting there. The Times and Galaxy and the Sulphur didn't really look like they were games that were my direction, but it's still great to see more independent games released there. And the Tales of Iron 2 was big. One of the biggest takeaways from this entire presentation, and I didn't realize, as Steve did, that the first game was on Switch, and I was like, "That's probably something I should be checking out, like as soon as possible," type thing, because that looks like a lot of fun, and I would really think that the follow up would also arrive there as well.
Yeah, Tales of Iron, I've heard nothing but good things about, and it's one that one of these days I do need to play. So Tales of Iron 2, I was really excited to see, and I said I'd be really shocked if that didn't hit all the other platforms as well, because it was out there. Times in Galaxy and Sulphur didn't do much for me. I'm not a big first person guy. And Vampire Survivors, like I said, we've talked about before. I'm glad that it's coming. Glad that they're adding new stuff, especially working with Konami. Konami remembering that there's video games. So then there were two different montages. One of them was for the AAA initiative, which we talked about last time, which just showed off a bunch of games that were announced there that are also coming to Xbox, like Cat Quest 3, I think was one of them. A lot of those games are also coming to Switch. And we talked about them last time. But then Gamera Games did a montage, their lineup of indie games will be launching across Xbox platforms. Excuse me. Most likely also coming to Switch. Some of these might have already been announced for Switch. I don't know. But we got The Rewinder. We've got Firework, Desperational. What is it? Desperationalism or Isolation. Make games better name now. I feel like Steve. It's a blanching RPG with multiple endings. How about multiple ways to spell your name? We got Keplerth. That's a 2D sandbox RPG. We got Volcano Princess as the final one, which is a fantasy parenting simulator. Just what I need having a new child, tasked with raising a daughter. So I get to do a daughter now because I have a son. Steve, what do you think of the stuff shown off from Gamera Games? Anything that interests you?
Nothing. Yeah, none of these. I mean, like none of them looked horrible, but none of them really grabbed my attention. I think they look fine, they look good, but yeah, I mean, if any of them, maybe the Rewinder. Puzzle adventures are fun, as I've alluded to before in this episode, but the rest of them, not a big horror game fan. Lots of RPGs are interesting, just don't have time for them. I definitely don't want a simulator about raising a daughter, especially one that has something to do with a volcano. That sounds dangerous. So no, none of these really grabbed my attention.
For me, it was mostly just the depersonalization one sounded the most intriguing. With I do like some of the branching path ones. I'm not usually one to try to solve all the different paths, but I'm always very interested to see like how some of that stuff is kind of crafted in games. Like those have always kind of been kind of interesting. So that was like the main one that stood out to me, and a lot of the other ones, it's kind of harder with the scissor reels because they're always it's only like 2-second video clips, and it's a lot harder to decipher what's exactly going on. So that was at least the main one that stood out to me.
Yeah, scissor reels
said on the others.
Yeah, like I said, the Rewinder looks kind of interesting. And I'm kind of interested in seeing how Keplerth goes because I always love sandbox style games and RPGs, of course. But it really depends on how the farming is, If it's more like Rune Factory, cool. If it's more in-depth stuff, then it'll be like Farming Simulator. No, thank you, I'm good. But that's what they showed off at the ID at Xbox. Again, a lot of these games we will most likely find out will come to Switch, and if they do not, there's a good chance they'll come to Switch too. So pay attention to that. Steve?
You know what we need at this point in video game history, at this era of games? We need a farming roguelike where you play as a cat. That's what we need.
Well, that's what you play as a dog, remember? Because like the dogs are underrepresented.
No, jump on all the trends is what we're doing.
Trends.
Yes.
Yeah, you know what?
And make it a battle royale at that.
60 kart racing on tractors battle royale with the cat driving the tractors.
Now you're talking. It's a roguelike,
Oh.
so everything's different. You never get to keep it.
Yeah. And if you destroy property, people come and chase you, as they should.
Yes. Well, that brings us to the end of our main topic discussions for this episode. Quick reminder, if you've not subscribed to us, please do that on YouTube, also on your favorite podcast app as well. And we stream live typically, like this is pre-recorded, but we typically stream live every other Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Pacific Time over on YouTube and Twitch. And we'd love for you to join us for those live podcasts. The next episode is going to be releasing, recording live. We're back to live recording on May 21st. So that's going to be our next episode. But until then, we've got some games that are going to be coming out. Again, thanks to Metacritic's list. We're scrolling those on the video screen, but also just kind of talking over some highlights. One of those games that's going to be coming out pretty soon is a game that Greg alluded to earlier. Little Kitty Big City drops on May 9th, as well as Ys 3 Wanderers from Ys on May 9th. And then there's also Biomutant on May 14th, and Lorelei and the Laser Eyes is coming out on May 16th. I'm sure there's some other games that probably stand out to you guys, and other games you're going to be hoping to play over the next couple of weeks. So, Greg, let's go to you first. What are you hoping to play, and what are you looking forward to?
At least the main ones that are coming out is going to be like the Little Kitty Big City, because I've already, as you mentioned, I said that name already earlier in the podcast, but I'll probably hopefully be trying to dive into the Paper Mario 64, because we're vastly approaching 1,000-year towar's release date, which is just to be shortly after our next episode. So that's at least what I'm going to be hoping to play, and that one is along with catching up on all the other review games we got to cover too.
Nice. And Greg's dog is also excited about Little Kitty Big City.
Very much.
Barry, what are you excited to play?
Yeah, I just noticed as we're scrolling through there, Vampire Survivors, Operation Guns come out the 9th. So there you go, Greg, the 9th. You can do it right now on Switch. So for me, nothing really of Switch coming out during this period. Like Greg mentioned, waiting for Paper Mario. So I'm going to be finishing up Stellar Blade. I got Endless Ocean to pop in. I haven't had a chance to do that because I'm still finishing Stellar Blade, and probably go back to Uden Chronicles, 100 Heroes to work on that, plus review games and games I'm also testing for premium. So that's taking up a lot of my time. Yeah, my next big game that I'm really looking forward to is Paper Mario. So I'm excited. It's coming up sooner versus later.
Nice. Yeah, I'm just pulling up my Switch. I don't think any of those games are exciting to me. I'm intrigued still by Lorelei and the Laser Eyes. I don't know if I'm going to get it, but it's definitely intriguing to me, and maybe I'll wait to see what other people think about it. Unless we happen to get review codes or something like that, then I'll play it. But I think I'm going to wait to see what other people think. But yeah, there's all these demos that released recently too, like Europa demo. I haven't played that yet. The Cat Quest 3 demo, haven't played that yet as well. And then we've got a couple other, games to review and stuff. So I'm gonna be playing that, those, and yeah, excited I need to get over on and launch up the NSO apps. I think that's what I'm going to hopefully do. And do you guys know, I can't remember, can you play those games without internet? Like if I make sure that I'm connected before, I should be able to play them on the airplane, right?
Yeah. The NSO updates like you have to log in like once a week, and then it has to verify an internet connection again. Cool. At some point. So if you did it like the day before your trip or you'll be gone, then it'll be good and you can play all of them offline.
Cool. Yeah, because I feel like there's been several releases recently, and some games that I haven't played in a long time that'd be fun to fire up again. But then some other games that I haven't ever played, and I was like, you know what? While I'm flying, that could be some fun as well, as well as that other game. Excuse me, Game Boy game. Was it Kudzu? That we have to review as well. So that might be some of the games that I play while I'm traveling over the next couple of weeks. Yeah, lots to do, lots of gaming, and we're gonna be heading into very, very soon what used to be the season of E3. So we'd normally be, firing up with some E3 predictions in past years and everything, but not so this year. Maybe we'll share some Summer Game Fest predictions on the next episode. But yeah, we never do this before. But if there's anything that you guys would like us to discuss, throw those down in the comments on YouTube as well, or reach out to us on social media or Discord. Say, hey, I would love to know what you guys think about this. We also have an email address. We don't talk about it a whole lot, but it's podcast@nintendofuse.com. And if you guys ever want us to tackle a specific topic, I know Greg's mentioned, if we wanted to do some tier lists and some different breakdowns of what games, draft picks, and all that stuff. If those kind of things intrigue you and that'd be fun to hear what your guys' thoughts are on any of those, let us know. And we'll work those into future episodes. But excited to finally be back live with you guys on May 21st, 2024. Greg, anything big going on in your life for the next couple of weeks?
Yeah, so actually the date of this recording, tomorrow, Sunday the 5th, I have my wedding shower for my upcoming nuptials that will be coming in June. So so that'll be pretty fun to go be seeing family and everything like that, and just opening up a bunch of more house gifts and all that fun stuff. So I'm still hoping for some more gaming themed related stuff for the wedding, but a lot of those have getting turned down. I was like, we could just do table names of just doing Hyrule or Mushroom Kingdom and stuff, and it's this too fancy. We can't do. It's supposed to be super elegant. You can't be putting that stuff in there. I'm like, you can
put your foot down, Greg.
You can still have some personalization. It doesn't have to be all okay, you're table one. You can make.
You know what you do? Fun. You bring your amiibo and you take the Lake amiibo and you put it on the table and say, "This is Hyrule," and you take a Mario amiibo. "This is the Mushroom Kingdom," and you put it right in the center of the table and you say, "Do not touch those." You mark them that way. Yeah, those are fancy.
I need to attach an air tag to all of them. Some of them might have fetch higher prices retail these days, but yeah.
Barry, it sounds like we need to be making a trip to Chicago tomorrow, and we're going to hijack the party and just Nintendoize it.
That's right.
That's probably what I need there. I mean, then I can also throw in I can pick up the Jackbox Naughty Box edition.
Oh, you play that, Steve. We will get you to play that game.
I was so thankful that my wife did allow us to. She was all for it, but we had me characters that were custom made on top of our wedding cake. It was pretty awesome. Cool. They're still displayed in our house, and they're pretty awesome. Even though Nintendo doesn't like Mii's anymore, we really like our Mii wedding toppers. They're pretty awesome.
We just got married at the courthouse, but otherwise, my wife would absolutely let that happen. She would, in fact, would insist on it.
Yeah, and I was really hoping that I was going to be going that way. I mean, I did get her a Nintendo Switch in the first year that we were dating, so she's been playing a lot of her Switch, and she was tackling the Mario versus Donkey Kong. She beat the Princess Peach game, so I was really hoping that influence would carry over. But
planting seeds there for a while.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, that's where I'd love to go to Super Nintendo World, and I know my daughter's dying to go too. Mm-hmm. I mean, but she'll be going to Disney World and just next week with her mom and stepdad, so that'll be fun for them. But cool. Yeah, I do need to try to plan out a trip to California to go to Nintendo World. But yeah,
cool.
Other than there's not really a whole lot of other stuff going down, as everything's just kind of winding down and fastly approaching, and just doing all the finalizations of the dotting the I's and crossing the T's to make sure everything's all set and ready to go.
Nice. Yeah, I'm going to be heading out to Cincinnati in a few days, which is why we couldn't record this live for a staff retreat. But I'm excited to. I like traveling. I just hope I can actually play more games this time in the plane, because the last couple of times I've had to travel really early in the morning and late at night and stuff. I'm just exhausted by the time I get there, and I usually just sleep or maybe listen to a podcast that I don't really care about, just kind of background noise while I'm flying. But hopefully I can actually get some good gaming time in over the next couple of weeks. Barry, what's going on in your world?
Just I mean, dealing with the kiddo and spending a lot of time with him, and he's getting a little more active now where I can't play as much, so my game time has come a little down, which not always the happiest about, but I'm enjoying watching him become the little man that he is, and so much character, and that's the biggest highlight, and getting to do things with him, and we've got a lot of things coming up with premium that we're already working on the next direct for the summer. If I say we, me, but there's a lot of stuff in store. Talking with developers and getting things lined up, and hopefully it all comes to fruition. Talk is one thing. You need those contracts signed, but so gonna be an exciting summer for sure, and focusing on that and gearing up because Greg's getting married in June, and my father-in-law is getting married in June as well. So, I don't know if we're gonna have to go down to Tennessee, which is gonna be tough, or my wife is gonna be flying down because he wants me to be his best man, which I am beyond honored. But it's like hard to leave because we've got the pups as well, and they're not good around other people. So it's like crap. But their plan is they're going to come up here during their honeymoon time in the summer in June, which my son turns 1. We're going to do a party and all that stuff. So I'm very much looking forward to June. It's going to be a crazy busy but a fun month.
That's cool.
So it sounds like Nintendo needs to release Xenoblade Chronicles X, so then you don't have time to play it.
Yeah.
You know what? I doubt it's going to come in June, considering we know June already with Luigi's Mansion 3. Well, actually, what sucks though about June is all this is happening in June, which I'm super excited about, and I love it. I'm so happy. And Luigi's Mansion 3 also comes out, or 2 comes out. I'm sorry. But Final Fantasy 14 Dawn Trail comes out June 28th, and like a week later, Legend of Hero Trails into Daybreak comes out. I'm like, oh my god, you have 14 and Trails at the same time with like Luigi, and I'm like, oh, that's gonna be insanely hard for me to play.
I'm so glad I'm not very far along in Final Fantasy 14 that doesn't bother me.
Well, yeah. So
like I'm still getting through the
that.
basics.
You're still in the basics. You haven't
Yeah.
played much. I didn't notice you didn't have
No,
any.
I actually, I didn't. I haven't been around my Xbox a lot this last couple of weeks. I've been traveling, so yeah.
You got to play more.
Yeah. I also saw that you had an interview with the developers of Tadpole Treble.
I did.
As well, yeah.
Yeah, so they're wonderful, wonderful. The Toronto brothers, they're so funny, and if you watch that interview, there's an interesting, funny story with an interaction with Nintendo in that interview. So I'm not going to spoil it. You got to watch it, but yeah, I did get to sit down with them, which is always fun. I always love to be able to do that. I haven't been able to even do industry talks lately, just because life is so crazy, and even finding that took like 4 weeks to finally sit down a time that we could all get together, and it's just been wild. So. Always trying to do a lot of stuff, just not enough time. He needs more. I petition for more hours in the day. There's more games every week. We need more hours.
Slow down, Earth. How do we put a petition into the Earth?
Then we would all die because we need to be spinning at a certain speed.
Sucked into the sun at that point, or we would just keep on going out. Well, like we said, next episode is going to be releasing and recording live on May 21st, 2024. We'd love to have you there streaming live at 8 p.m. Eastern and 5 p.m. Pacific time over on Twitch and YouTube, and love to have you jump in the live chat and add into the conversation as we record live. But thanks for being here for episode 291. We'll be back, just like I said, on May 21st. But until then, happy gaming, everybody.
Have a good one.
See you next time.